Okay, guys and gals, today we're acting as a consultant and we're going to go look at a boat for a potential buyer. Yesterday we did a lot of kind of research on the boat. We found this one online. I actually found it, and the buyer knows exactly the boat he wants, and this boat is probably up there in price. But what I really wanted to show the buyer is what he could, buy. If he buys one at a less expensive price, he's going to have to take it and get it all the way up to where this boat is. But this boat's already here, so then we'll go in here and we'll see what we can negotiate on this boat right here. And he just won't have to deal with, like replacing fuel tanks and putting a bow thruster in and stuff like that, because this is already done on this boat. So anyway, let's go over here and look at it, and I'll give you my first impressions as I walk out here into the marina. Okay, so we're going to walk over to the boat right here. I can already see it, it's right there. First impression, with that top down up on front there, it doesn't help the appeal of the boat. But the canvas looks good, the boat looks good. And the boat we're looking at here is this 36 GB. So, wow. The teak's done right. I can tell you in the video yesterday, in the videos we did yesterday, the teak looked in better shape. So it's good that I came out here and looked at it. The outside. Okay, guys and gals, so Paul here, and I'm with Seth, and like I said, we're doing a little consulting on this for a potential buyer for this boat right here. And we talked to Seth yesterday. We did a FaceTime video with us. He was very honest about the boats and finding a good broker. And I just, real quick, I talked to a broker down in Pensacola, and he just had he had a horrible attitude. And so, and then I looked at the boat, and I've already ruled it out, but I would have loved to have gone and looked at the boat, because it did have new fuel tanks, but they were plastic. And then I started really digging deep into the boat. When you start getting into these trawlers, these 40-year-old trawlers at that $100,000 price range, right? You've got to really see some value, and the value of this one's below the waterline, believe it or not. And that's a good place to be on one of these 40-year-old trawlers. Sure. Yeah, when you have, like yesterday in the video, he's showing us that somebody went in there, he's had the tanks cleaned, the fuel's polished, and those tanks, they are original. We thought maybe that they had been replaced, and we saw it in one of the blogs, but after knowing a little bit about the Grand Banks and going through a few surveys on them, they are original tanks. But the good news about them is somebody's maintained them correctly.
Right.
Even Seth, if it had Seth, and then the broker, or the guy, the surveyor we dealt with, was Seth too, so it was kind of weird.
It's a great name.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a great name.
Yeah. So anyway, but Seth he would sign off on those tanks, no problem, on this boat. And this boat right here, in my opinion, if I didn't want to mess with any of the stuff above the waterline right here, I could get in this boat today and loop it. I believe that with all my heart. And you probably have very minimal problems.
Yeah, wouldn't hesitate to take off.
Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate to take off in this boat right here. So there is value to that. There's lots of value, and you're not going to get a trawler like this for 40 grand, 50 grand. That's not going to happen. You're going to pay for the quality and the care that's been taken care of the boat. Just because the bright work on top needs a little bit of sanding and polishing, and a couple of veneers need to be replaced. You're not going to. You can maybe be able to subtract that from the price, but you're not going to be subtracting tens of thousands of dollars. And when you get into one of these 40-year-old trawlers, you sell boats. Yeah, and you're right down here in this Florida market, so you see quite a few of these come through here. And what would you rank this boat right here if you were if you had a star rating for a 40-year-old trawler? Where would you rank it?
Well, 7. 6 to 7, and that's only because the bright work is ready to be redone, and a few cosmetic issues which you'd have on any 40-year-old boat, where some of the veneer is starting to separate and it needs to be gone through. You could actually completely revarnish all of the veneer. We had a beautiful defeaver in here the other day, and the owner had.
What year was that one?
It was about the same vintage in the 80s,
Oh, wow.
and they had completely revarnished the interior and refinished the entire, and it looked like a brand new boat.
Yeah.
And it was now, but when you look down in the engine room,
Terrible.
not terrible, but not like this one.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, you can eat off the floors in this one, and all this stuff. You can see the difference in the quality of maintenance. But this boat was a go boat. It still is a go boat. I mean, the current owner is not a dock dweller. He is a go boater.
Yeah, right. But
That means you got to keep the engine room ready.
Yeah, right. Anyway, but and the boat has low hours for the Lehman. It's what 3,500 hours, something like, which is low hours really. But you guys got to remember, you can do the entire loop with 600 hours. That's 6,000 miles.
That's
so.
much less than I would have imagined.
Yeah.
That's good. And I just assumed that, and having owned a bunch of Ford Lehmans, and I just bought a brand new crate, not brand new, but a newly rebuilt crate motor from Bomac Marine. That's my favorite engine.
But did you buy a Lehman from them?
A Lehman.
And how much did that cost us out of curiosity?
Well, I didn't have the core because the boat
Okay.
didn't have. They took the engine out and
Okay.
destroyed it. So without a core and with the transmission, a brand new gear, it was about $20,000.
Okay, and
it's just drop it in the boat, hook it up, and rock and roll.
yeah, and that's with the gear too. If you took the gear off there,
Gear was about $5,000.
so then it's 15,000, and that sounds right. And you can rebuild one of these Lehmans. That's $2,600 for the parts, about $5,000 labor.
Right.
But then you still have to pull the money to pull the engine out and all that stuff.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway, for a 40-year-old trawler, I'm with him on his assessment of the trawler. It's definitely, by far a 6, maybe even pushing that 7. Especially if you compare it to other 40-year-old trawlers. And so we'll see. We'll see if the buyer makes him an offer or not. I'm pretty confident he will. The buyer or the seller might not like the offer, but he will definitely make him an offer, and we'll see what happens. So anyway, guys, we do appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. And remember, live life with no regret. If you know how you never own a trawler, you never look, or you never try, or you never do anything. So
That's right.
Anyway, this would be a perfect first boat for anybody. So, all right, guys, thank you. Bye. Now, like I said, that video may